What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Billtendo Show with me, Bill, and as always, the secret host of the show, Mike. And Mike, somebody made reference to that the other day. They said they told me something they heard on the show and said, I just heard this on the Mike show. And I thought that was funny as shit because I said that in the last episode that you're the secret host and I'm really the co-host.
Yuck.
So.
I don't like that at all.
I know you don't, and that's what makes me like it even more. Before I forget, today's episode, as always, is sponsored by Billtendo.com. If you're looking for games, if you're looking for emulators, if you are looking for consoles, and with the ever-growing website, we now have toys and collectibles. There's a lot of brand new and packaged Simpsons toys on there right now at really good prices. So Billtendo.com. We're trying to make it your headquarters for geek culture in general. Hopefully we'll expand to comic books also soon. Use the code Quest64 to get 10% off. And as always, that Quest64 is in reference to Mike, the Quest guy.
The Quest guy. Yeah. I love that.
That's how much I love Mike, is that my business is tied to messing with Mike. So, or homaging. You could take it either way. If you'd like to take it as a mockery, go ahead. But if you'd like to take it as an homage, you can do that also.
Yes, I will just take it any way that I feel like it. Just like I would take all of you listeners here on whatever day it is that you listen to this. And much like the Billtendo.com website, we would like to be your headquarters for weekly gaming news and retro stuff. And that's why we're here at the Billtendo Show, is to talk about the things we like to talk about. Movies, TV, video games, the knit clubs that Billy's in this week, what comic books he read in 1971 when he was 43 years old. That's what we do here.
You know, Mike, it's funny. One day we're going to outgrow the point where we point out smooth segues, but today is not that day, and that was nice.
It was smooth, and I didn't even have to say it, but then you did. So then
I know, that's what I'm saying. One day we're gonna outgrow the need to point out a smooth segue.
Yep, because, professional radio show, professional podcast. You know,
that's how we roll.
I used to make that joke. I was on a review podcast before this one with another friend before we got too busy delivering mail for the rest of our lives, and he used to do the same thing. We would go a couple episodes without it, but then he would just pop in and be like, professional podcast segue, after we would do a really like smooth one, just to make sure that we didn't get too full of ourselves, you know, with our radio etiquette and the great things that we're doing in the voice verse, or whatever we call this now.
Right. The voice verse?
Yep.
Like, it's fucking better than the metaverse.
Yeah.
Facebookville, as we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
So,
all right. So straight to news, Billy. Are you ready for news, or do you got some other stuff you want to talk about?
Nah, I mean, I have a little. You know what? It's news. It's newsy. It has to do with the technosphere or the tech sphere.
Yeah. Technodrome.
Please. Yeah. Awesome. nice Ninja Turtle reference.
Yeah.
So please tell me you saw the Linda Yaccarino interview.
I didn't.
You did not.
Oh,
holy mackerel, Mike! You're gonna have to check that out later. For anyone that doesn't know, Linda Yaccarino is the new CEO of Twitter, or X. We're still gonna call it Twitter. It's Twitter forever, dude. We're not changing it. Yeah. So while Mike makes his, what did you call them? Zeets?
Oh, yeah. Zeets. Yeah, I like the zeet all over the Twitterverse. So.
There's Zeets now. Okay, I'm sorry. I got distracted. So Linda Yaccarino did an interview as the CEO of Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just going to say it was extremely cringy. It was extremely tone deaf. It is blatantly obvious that she did the interview to try to dissuade the public opinion that she was CEO in name only and Elon Musk is actually still running everything. And she failed dramatically at that. Because the interviewer was actually asking her questions like, so Elon Musk says that you're going to move to an all paid model to where all users are subscription based. And do you think you're going to, you think the platform's still going to function in that aspect and you're not going to lose almost everyone that's on there? And her response was kind of, well, did Elon say that we were doing that, or did he say that he's thinking about it? And they were like, no, he said it today. We are definitely doing that. That's the plan. And it seems like she's super ill informed on a wide variety of topics, but yet at the same time, it seemed like Linda Yaccarino was trying to talk down to the interviewer and tell her, you're asking the wrong questions. She literally told her that. She said, you're asking the wrong questions. And she wasn't asking the wrong questions. She was asking the questions that people want to know. And Linda Yaccarino, my favorite part of the entire interview, as you know, I'm not a fan of Elon Musk. I don't think he's a genius. I have a lot of opinions about him. I actually think he's just a moron with money, but
Yeah.
And a lot of people mistake that for genius. But my favorite part of the entire interview was when the interviewer asked her, do you not know what's going on with product? And she said, well, I know everything that's going on with product. I talk to Elon multiple times a day, but as everyone knows, Elon Musk is running product. And how many of you people out there would not want to have Elon Musk running product with you? And this whole thing was filmed in front of a large live audience, and like half of the audience raised their hand that they did not want Elon Musk to run product with him. It just shows that public opinion has definitely swayed. I think a lot of people thought Elon was a lot smarter before he bought Twitter and showed, really that he's not that smart. I mean, he showed up at the border. What is he doing going to the border to check on immigration? It doesn't make any sense. Also, he wore his cowboy hat backwards, which is, anyway, the interview was very interesting. It was super cringy.
I mean, I'm fine making fun. If you want to continue making fun of him at the border, I had a good time with that yesterday too. He looks like Butthead on Sideways profile with his hat backwards like that. But more importantly, he was trying to be a badass by talking about how he was walking and hip firing a 50 cal, which is objectively the sissiest way to shoot a 50 cal. If he really wanted to hunker down and put it on his shoulder and shoot it,
Right.
maybe we'd take him more seriously. But instead, he's just off, wasting valuable ammunition, firing into the sand with his idiot cowboy hat and his big leather duster and his dumb. What I'm perplexed with how many different bad things I could say about him, but I just
Right.
I'm getting kerfluffled, Bill.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to say something bad about Elon Musk just for the simple fact that it's so hard to choose one thing.
I was just completely flabbergasted with the things he posted yesterday, plus the pictures that he was posting, plus the things that I saw elsewhere, and I'm like, I have never seen somebody so tone deaf or maybe just unaware of the world around them than his whole compilation of online presence yesterday, which makes total sense now that he's, pretending like he's not the CEO of Twitter. He's just a normal guy.
Yeah, well, a lot of people think that whole trip to the border was kind of intertwined with to show that he's not at Twitter. He's not running Twitter.
Oh, it absolutely is. Yeah.
Linda Yaccarino is. But I'd like to point out that people called this out when it happened. There is a history especially in the tech industry, when a ship is going down, the CEO steps aside and appoints a woman to be the new CEO for the sinking ship. This has happened a number of times. I mean, it has nothing to do with what anyone's political beliefs are. You know, you call me a male feminist or whatever you want. I don't care. That's weird. Somebody called me that on TikTok the other day because I think Pearl is a lunatic. Just pearly things. Hopefully you don't know who that
I
is.
do not. Thank you.
Oh, I love you so much more tonight, Mike.
You would be the amount that you pick on me with my online presence. You'd be very surprised with how very little I know. I knew nothing of Twitter before this. I don't do a lot of like personal Facebook. I don't use Instagram. I'm very much not Mike on the internet very often, so I have to slowly I had to have somebody explain Pro Jared's marriage falling apart history to me in great length, so I could either defend or agree with this big long Twitter rant that somebody had about me talking about him and his. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know about him sending pictures or being married. I just know him as a big talking YouTube face. So.
Yeah, well, that must have been a really enjoyable conversation catching up on Pro Jared.
I Every day that somebody educates me on the internet is a great day for me, Billy.
Yeah. Well, whereas you are like a singular entity when it comes to the internet, you know, like you're fucking Quest guy, Mike. And so like essentially, right? Like you're involved in video games and people know you because of your love for Quest 64.
That's true. I would like to think that there's some people that just know me in the video game community for things outside of that, but I know that that's not like always true.
Right. But what I'm saying is you exist in the gaming space, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm outside of that a lot. Like my interests are weird and varied, and I keep up. Like yes, I make my home in the gaming space, but I have so many other things going on. You know,
Yeah.
as you know. Speaking of which, let's while we're talking about other things out on the internet outside of that outside of gaming, the guy that shot the YouTuber because the guy was harassing him and he told him to leave him alone like 5 times, and he had
Yeah.
two guys with him and cameras, and he was up in the guy's face like talking shit. The guy kept trying to walk away, and then he shot him in the leg. Well, that guy was acquitted of deadly intent with a firearm or whatever it was. Now he was convicted of firing a gun into a dwelling because they were inside of a mall and there were people inside. He could get anywhere from 2 to 10 years for that. But there's also a large amount of people that think that he's not even going to get that he's going to get 6 months house arrest and 2 years probation. What are your thoughts on quote unquote prank channels that are not prank channels? They just harass people. What do you think about the guy that shot the guy in the leg? You think he deserved it?
Oh, that whole culture, so I already have a problem with, contrived YouTubeism, I guess.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Like you said that one time that you didn't like the where people set up a podcast looking thing just so they can talk and have a guise for their face being on the internet for no reason. Like,
Yes.
I feel that same way about some of the big names.
Mr. Beast.
Well, yeah, but yeah, okay. So we'll talk about him. So he's constantly running social.
Please
He
do.
keeps saying that he's doing social media experience or whatever he's doing. But what he's doing is just seeing how much people will endure for money, which is more like a government stress experiment than it is like a, hey, this is super fun, fear factor, eat a cockroach kind of thing. It's like I put this person in a blacked out grocery store and I'm paying them $10,000 a day to not come out. That's not fun for people. Yeah,
Right.
it might be good content in the way that people consume it, but it's not good. It's just content that people consume. And that's how you gauge good is, do people watch it? It doesn't have to be like good for people or good for society. It just has to be good for making more money to make more content. So, do I think that the guy deserved to be shot? No, I don't think anybody deserves to be shot until I decide they do. But, but I mean, neither of those guys should have been in that place in the first place because that's objectively crappy content. That's not something that's good. And then it would end up being, but then it ends up being good content because somebody gets shot. And now there's a video of it. Ha 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 ha.
Oh yeah, and that guy has literally posted a video on YouTube called "I Got Shot."
Yep.
So, yeah, getting shot is the best thing that ever happened to that terrible YouTube channel. But I want to back up a little bit and build on what you said about Mr. Beast. And this is a truly, truly unpopular opinion that I have. I've received a lot of pushback for it. Many, many heated discussions with my children who are in their 18s and 20s. I'm a firm believer that just because you give people money does not make it okay to make poor people dance for money. The only difference between what they consider poverty porn, where the guy goes out on YouTube videos and gives $20 to a homeless guy,
Yeah.
and he films it, right?
Yeah.
And
Buys
and
100
every,
hot dogs and hands them
yeah,
out to the homeless
and
people. Yeah.
everybody's like, that guy's a scumbag. He only gave that money to make a video. Well, the only difference between what that guy fucking does and what Mr. Beast does is the amount of money.
You're right.
There is no other difference. And I can't stand when people are like, oh, Mr. Beast is such a good guy. He's such a sweet guy. He's really giving people, like, he gives to the less fortunate and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but how does he give poor people money? And they're like, well, he makes videos of what? Of giving poor people money. So it's not okay to make poor people dance for money, to make poor people dance for money. It's just a cycle of the same thing over and over. He's poverty porn content.
And somebody might argue that a lot of the people that are on his videos are not poor. They're regular people who just want the money. But once again, when you're talking about the wealth of Mr. Beast or the wealth of the people that do a lot of these content creations, at this point, especially after the last 3 years and how the economy has fluctuated, a lot of people who are making regular amounts of money, middle class Americans, are objectively poor compared to the people that are making these videos. So, I mean, even if you say, oh, well, it was just somebody who wanted to, challenge themselves and do this thing and see if they could do this to win some money. And then they get to also be like quasi internet famous for being on the Mr. Beast show. Yeah, that's all true. Or Mr. Beast could just, give them the money. Like, we don't have. I know that the machine requires a spectacle. The video needs to have a subject. It can't just be Mr. Beast gives somebody $50,000 because
Right.
he's bored today. But I mean, because he wouldn't have the money if he wasn't making the videos. So now the means are the cause, and the cause justifies the means, and all blah blah blah. But I mean, I wish. And I've said this about the things that irritate me with retro gaming. I wish there was a way to shift the culture away from weird, toxic, demeaning internet content and shifted it to positive internet. Like he could just as well go around building homeless shelters and then giving people the money in the home. And you know what? It would still be the same thing, but at least he'd be accomplishing something, not buying a warehouse and making a ball pit full of money that people drowned in,
Right. I actually had a conversation with Joel today, who was on with us last week,
Yep.
about the entire experience of trying to build up the community and make it, not as not competitive, especially he and I are on the seller's end of things, but we don't compete per se, And I don't feel like I truly compete with anybody. Excuse me, because what I do is I work with my competition on a regular basis. You know, um, make
And by
make
work with your competition, you mean make fun of DK oldies and hope they respond?
well, yes and no. No, what I mean by work with my competition is just because you also sell games, that doesn't make you my enemy. As a matter of fact, I've become very good friends with many, many other sellers, and we help each other out all the time. You know, somebody will message me, hey, one of my customers is looking for this. Do you have it? Yes, I do. And, you know, and then we set the deal up and we make it happen, or vice versa, it goes the other way around, or sometimes we send each other the customer directly. But the truth of it is like it benefits us all to work together, even if we are technically competitors.
Yeah. It's the same way with the stuff I do. I know we like to talk about, I only do one thing, and that's Quest. But I mean, it
that's that's not what I said. I said that's primarily what you're known
well, I
for.
mean, but when people talk about the lack of RPGs in the N64, how unfinished Quest was, it still opens the conversation. If they aren't being, you know, just rude or crappy about it, the conversation always turns good because it's conversation. And that's all I want is, people talking on the internet. So you build a community through disagreement just as much as you do through agreement. I don't need a whole like Twitter full of yes people loving Quest. Like you said, we're not all in competition for views. There's enough people for everybody. There's if you write a book, there's enough readers. Maybe you won't find them on your first book, but there's always people looking for the thing that you're doing, and it doesn't have to be negative. It can all be positive, and we can all do it together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, I don't know. I'm a little thrown off right this second, and I apologize. I actually just got from a random person a compliment on the website, and
Aw.
I don't get who compliments a website. You know what I mean? Like that makes me feel good. They're like, I really like your navigation. It's very smooth. I'm gonna take a little bit of personal pride in that because, as you know, I'm a carpenter by trade. I spent 30 years in carpentry. Anything I know how to do on the computer, I taught myself, and I've taught myself a lot of stuff. Um, but building the website and doing all the drop down menus and all the boring stuff, I was talking to you about all this last week. It's
Yeah.
not my wheelhouse. It's super difficult for me. That's not my area of expertise. So to have somebody just say, I really like your navigation, it's smooth, man, I feel that with my whole chest.
I'm glad because I gave you a whole bunch of the opposite of that last week. So I'm glad you got some compliments.
Well, Mike, I depend on you and a couple other people to give me the honest bullshit. And you do compliment me when it's appropriate. And sometimes, especially here on the show, you've said nice things that were, you got a little mushy on me, and that's okay. That's okay. I love you, buddy. But in general, you're honest with me, whether it's kind or whether it's just shooting straight. You're never mean, but you are open and honest with me. And that isn't that what we really want from our friends?
Yeah. It's even what I want from the people I don't like or don't know. I like if you don't like what I'm doing on the internet, tell me. Like if you want something different, go ahead. I won't change, but I mean, I'd like to hear about it. I'd like to hear what
Yeah.
people think what we could all do better for the retro community. I know we just use that term retro community a lot and it's really broad, but I mean, we all want to do like you want to run your website better. I want to write
Right.
and speak better and do the, research better. I want to be better. We all want to be better. And if people aren't honest, nobody gets better. So.
Right. Mike, we should make like a little mini documentary from my YouTube channel. Should
Of
do
what?
I don't know, Quest. You can narrate it.
Man, it's already hard enough. I say that I like to be on things, and I always tell people, "Yeah, I'd love to be on your show," and then I like the day of, I'm like, ugh. what am I gonna?
Yeah, I
Because I
get
don't
like
go back and listen to my stuff, so I'm like, what am I gonna say that I'm gonna regret today? Like, what
right.
people like to pick out one or two things. Moses said that during the Joe Burry episode we did on here. He's like, "Oh, you had this really great line of, I can't go back and relive the birth of my children." I'm like, "I don't even remember that. What context would that is in?" He's like, "I don't know." I'm like, "Well,
Um,
what good is it? What good is it? Like, I'm just now I regret saying it because that's what you remember, not any of the content of the show. You just remember some one liner. Like, that's not good for me. Tell me how it can be better."
right, right. No, I know exactly how you feel every time. Like, I even there. I have one friend, Brandon at Game Junction, and his content is fairly popular, and I'm the only person that's ever been on his podcast more than once. I'm the only return guest because Brandon and I are friends and we talk on a regular basis. And every once in a while, I'm like, "Hey, let's do a show." And he's like, "Okay, I have this date open." And I'm like, "Okay." So I literally just asked to be on the show. He doesn't come to me with it because I don't know. I don't know. We just don't generally talk about it. Every once in a while, I'll just be like, "Hey, what's the next open date you got?" But then the day of the show comes and I'm like, "Oh, fuck, I got to do this show." Like you at that point, I think it's maybe because like this is you and I, and we do this. We try to stay have a scheduled time, but if we don't, we don't. You and I are flexible, but when it's somebody else's show, it's not flexible.
Yeah.
You're on their schedule,
Yeah,
and
and
you
you want to
need
be good for them. It's not to make
right,
yourself look good on their show. It's to make
right.
their show look competent.
You know what? Not it's not just that. So I appreciate that you said that because whenever I guest on another pod or something like that, um I am not there for me.
Yeah,
Like I'm yeah, we all do our own little shameless self promotion, like, "Hey, you could check me out here," or whatever at the end. But at the end of the day, I feel like I'm just trying to put on a good show for their fans so they look good because like I generally don't agree to go on a pod unless I know the person and I'm friends with them.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, I guess I've been on some because I've been on like I was on a German show once, which is actually how I started using my name, and I was on like a guy the Tokyo. Oh man, now I'm gonna flub this up. Oh, Tokyo Game Diary, I believe is called. Anyway, but I was on a bunch of shows where I was not familiar with their format up until the day I was on it because their schedule was tight, and it was, "Hey, can you be on 2 days from now?" Yeah, let me just listen to this now on this day when I'm at the movies with my kids or whatever. But you still try to be good, like you just listen to what they're saying and pay attention and don't promote yourself ever. That's a Mikeism. When people are
Yeah,
like, "Hey, do you want to shout out your socials?" I'm like, "No."
no. Yeah, dude, like I'm the opposite. I'm like, "Hell yeah." So let me get out the list and I got the
Yeah,
whole sheet of paper and I'm gonna read off all I'm gonna promote everything I've ever done in my entire life. And it's gonna take 10 extra minutes. And people ask you, you want to tell us where to find you? And you're like, "Nope."
I'll find you. But Billy, tonight I will promote something that I'm doing as a surprise for you.
Fantastic. I love it, Mike.
Are you excited?
I am excited.
Palpitating.
It's been I'm exhausted lately just from working on the website so much. So yeah, I'm excited.
So
I was
I may have teased this before, but
okay.
now it is we are 100% go. I and a friend of mine are co-writing and printing the official Quest 64 cookbook this upcoming year. You had to go find a noise for that.
Huh?
You had to find a noise for that.
Well, yeah, obviously, dude, that's pretty good news. You needed a cool sound effect.
Yeah, a baseball sound effect for a cookbook. Yes, this will be a
I don't have that many sound effects, Mike.
yeah.
No,
Yeah,
no.
initially, so it's cool. The guy Evan, I don't remember if you were part of those promotions when we did that, but I did a one, the Legend of Zelda one, the Legends cookbook. He
Yeah,
does really awesome Legend of Zelda themed cookbooks. He did knives and cutting boards, like based on when the Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom came out. He did releases for those. He makes really cool niche small run products to go along with these really awesome, wholesome and honest cookbooks that he writes. He's got a couple chef friends and a mixologist, and they go wild testing recipes, and then they put them in these cookbooks and base them on video games. He did a Toe Jam and Earl one too that was really cool. And now the next evolution is a Quest 64 cookbook, naturally, based on the popularity of the video game and the likelihood that it will sell super well. So anyway, this is like pretty much squarely on my shoulders to promote this thing. So I'm doing that now. I asked him what he needs from me, and he's like, nah, just hit me with ideas when you got them, and we'll keep a Google Doc, and I just need you to do the things that you do on social, but occasionally mention the cookbook. And then we have a really fun internet presence together. So I dropped some memes about the cookbook, and he immediately came on with his business account, which is Job Inc. And he's like, I have no idea who this person is, and I have no idea what he's talking about. Did that for the first hour, and we had a really good time. So then I had a bunch of people yesterday and this morning asking me if the cookbook was real, because all social media is all a big pile of me talking about it and some other social entities, including the person I tagged, saying it's not real. And it already doesn't sound real, because why would anybody buy a Quest 64 cookbook? And then what's going to be in it? Because there's only a couple items in Quest, Billy.
So yes, I was going to actually ask you that. Like, the Quest game is not very robust for such things. So, to my knowledge, unless there's some Japanese exclusive game that was all about crafting meals, I don't know. So what? So explain to me what's going to be in the book, Mike.
Whatever I want, Billy. That's what's going to be in the book. So obviously, so the most popular items from, and like fan favorite items, are bread, honey bread, fresh bread were like the big jokes. So those will have some baking. There'll be there's like heroes potions and heroes drinks and dragons potions and things like that, and dewdrops. So we'll make some adaptations of those into drinkable, alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks. Other than that, it's going to kind of be a surprise. We're gonna adapt some things into food recipes, or have some foods inspired by people, places, and things in the game. It's not going to be a super long cookbook. It's not going to be like 300 recipes. It'll probably be, 10-ish recipes, but it'll
10?
Be maybe more. I don't know yet, Billy.
You're creative, Mike. You can come up with 50.
It's not up to me. They have to be real food, Billy.
That's what I'm saying.
So then the secondary wave of things were, I can't wait to see what kind of advertisements and memes you slap in this book. And here's the ultimate troll, Billy. This is a Billtendo exclusive. The ultimate troll is this is going to be just a normal cookbook. And everyone's going to be expecting other stuff, and that's it. It's going to be the ultimate troll. It's going to be a normal cookbook. Jokes on everybody.
Right.
So if you don't listen to the show, you're not going to know that, because I'm never going to say that elsewhere. So.
I got a recipe for your book.
Yeah, do you?
Yeah. It's a potion.
Yeah.
Yeah, half Red Bull, half Mountain Dew.
Yeah, that's the Billtendo Heroes drink?
Well, yeah. Actually, my so... And you know how people drink Jaeger bombs? Yeah. Jaeger and Red Bull? Yeah. If you do your shot of Jaeger in Monster instead, it's not as tart. It's sweeter. It gives it a little bit fruitier flavor. I actually started doing that about 10 years ago, even though I drink Red Bull and I don't drink Monster. I prefer a Jaeger bomb with Monster, and I call it the Jaeger Monster. So there's a potion for you, buddy.
I'm from Wisconsin, Billy, and if you think that we haven't tried every mixture of energy drink plus alcohol here, you are ill-informed about how Wisconsin is run. We have 8 of the 10 drunkest cities in America pretty annually in our state, and I live in one of them. So yes, we actually do what we affectionately call upside down Jaeger bombs, which is a shot of Red Bull into a glass of Jaeger. So,
Uh-huh.
which is, if you like Jaeger, great. If you don't like Jaeger,
Oh,
it's a big mouthful of
that,
Jaeger.
that's the thing, man. I don't like getting drunk. I don't even like having a buzz, but I do love the taste of Jaeger. So I do like a half a shot of Jaeger every couple days or so. A bottle lasts me a really long time, but I just like the taste of it. But I don't want my mind altered in any way.
Well,
You
that's a
know,
shame. That's all I live in. I mean, I'm not an alcoholic yet, but one day I strive to forget about the things that I've done on the internet these last 5 years. So maybe we do. So like during Christmas, we do, instead of gift exchanges with friends, we all get to the bar and we do a shot exchange where everybody buys a shot and you put it up on the bar and then you draw a number and you have to do the number of the shot
I
regardless of what's in it. We do all sorts of fun drinking games in Wisconsin, Billy.
I heard in Wisconsin that all of your shot glasses are made of cheese. Is that true?
It's not, but we do eat our glass shot glasses after enough shots over the course of the night too. So we do eat. There is a lot of cheese. There's not a lot of cheese alcohol, but there is a lot of cheese that we can. I would say every bar that I go to, if they don't have food, they have. We do a lot of. Do you have a lot of frozen pizzas in New York, Billy? You guys like a lot of brands of frozen pizzas? Like when you go to the grocery store, like
I
is there
mean,
a lot of?
we have the couple national brands for the most part. I live in New York, dude.
I know.
People
That's
buy
why I want to know.
here. Nobody gives a shit about frozen pizza here.
So when you go to a grocery store in
It's
Wisconsin,
DiGiorno.
we have no, not just the Giorno. We have an entire, usually like 64-foot aisle dedicated
Mhm.
just to frozen pizzas because cheese is made here, and so like Jack's is packaged in Wisconsin.
Right.
But I mean every bar, like Village Pub, all like every bar has their own frozen pizza line then too, made with their cheese and made with their toppings, made at their bar that they then freeze. Cranky Pets has frozen pizza. Home Run Inn has frozen pizza
Mhm.
because we can't we get snowed into our houses, Billy, and when you're getting drunk alone at your house, you still need to recreate the bar experience. So you need to have a pizza from your favorite bar with an alcohol that you could consume at your favorite bar, but you're not because you're stuck in your house. And that's how we continue our alcoholism through the winter when we're stuck in the house. So
So I'm a big fan of cheese in general. I like a good Havarti.
you guys have cheese in New York?
Yeah, we have cheese in New York. Actually, I live north of the city by about an hour or so, and actually we have a lot of farms in the near area. You could drive outside of town. A lot of farms, whether it be milk or chickens or corn. It's actually surprising. But the one cheese I don't care for, man, American cheese. I don't think it's very good.
It's not. But it's just like saying
You're from
the one beer
you're
you
from
don't care for
Wisconsin. You're
is
supposed to defend American
yeah, but
cheese.
I'm just saying it's like saying the one beer that you don't care for is like, I don't know, like Coors Light or Milwaukee's Best Ice. You know what I mean? It's not supposed to be good. It's supposed to be, it's utilitarian. It's supposed to get the job done. And what American cheese does is it makes good mac and cheese and it melts good on shitty burgers. And that's all that American cheese does, and that's what you do.
I don't do that, dude. I actually, whenever I go get a burger, even McDonald's or Burger King, I'll order my meal and they're like, with cheese, and I'm like, no, no, absolutely.
We don't even get asked that here, Billy.
Yeah, no, dude, no. Well, the thing is, like, I specifically order a hamburger, or like I want a regular Whopper, and they're like, with cheese, and I'm like, no, I'm not paying 30 cents for disgusting cheese.
Same price here.
If you could throw a fucking slice of provolone on there, we good. You know, I'll pay 30 cents for that.
And we do, so fast food is like that, but when you go, so I live right by Pete's Garage. They get a shout out now tonight too. They make probably not the best burgers, but the most well-known burgers in town. First of all, because they're cheap. Burgers and fries are $6, $6.50 for a burger basket there, and you can have anything on them you want. You know, peanut butter jalapenos, 45 kinds of cheese, bacon, onions, grill, you know, anything you want on them. But I still get American cheese a lot of the time because it's melty and I want my stuff to stick to my burger. So if I'm going to put jalapenos and grilled onions, I don't want those falling all over the place. So you need that slimy, weird plastic American cheese to be homogenous. You need it to hold the stability of the burger together. It's not about flavor. Sometimes it's about structure. And as a carpenter, you should know how that works. So that's,
It's about its function. It's
yep.
function over aesthetics.
You're getting flavor from other places, and I eat enough. I just eat cheese during the day. Like I know people say like, there can't be that much cheese in Wisconsin, Billy. There's so much cheese here. I had friends that moved to Missouri, they're like, you know what we miss? Cheese, because all we
Yeah.
have is craft products, and then
Ugh.
whatever one local farmer has, and then shredded cheese, and then that's it.
No.
We hit
I
like every
need,
cheese is everywhere here, Billy.
yeah, I need
Everywhere.
real cheeses. I'm not buying craft shit. Speaking of cheeses, man, did you see that video going around on social media? I saw it on TikTok. So if you watch Instagram Reels, you'll probably catch it next week or so. Um, it'll probably be to Facebook in about a month. It's pretty good. A dude comes home with a half a wheel of Parmesan.
Nice.
And it's 44 pounds.
That's a
So
big.
it's like a foot thick, right? And obviously at one point this was like a 3 foot in diameter wheel, and it's half of it. And he said that he thinks they messed up because they charged him 10.48 for it. And I'm assuming it was supposed to be 10.48 a pound.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they right. So they give him, he's got like a 44 pound, half a wheel of cheese. And the video is interesting because his wife is going off on him. She's like, why did you buy that much cheese? I can't believe you got that much cheese. What are you doing? And I'm like, my wife would divorce me if I had a chance to buy 44 pounds of Parmesan for $10 and I didn't do it. She'd
And
be like,
shelf even cut open. I mean, you should still do your
Parmesan is
best.
stable forever in a cool, dry place.
Yeah. Yes. I
Yeah.
mean, it's going to get a little weird because obviously you don't have rind on that exposed part, but as long as you keep that
Right.
somewhat covered and temperature controlled, yeah, that's cheese forever. Awesome.
How long is it gonna take you to eat
Couple
44
years. I
pounds
would make a point to put it in all the pasta and on all my
right.
pizzas and that, like I wouldn't have soup without cheese on top of it. Every day it'd be like Olive Garden at the house. Like just keep
Yep.
it coming. Just shred it. Yeah.
I'd have to go buy one of those fucking
Yeah.
Olive
The cheese
Garden
spinner. Yeah.
Parmesan shredders. Yeah. Without
Yeah.
a doubt. It'd be on, dude.
All right, Billy, we are at an impasse. I will give you two options. We can do some news instead of just talking about cheese and cookbooks, or we can do an episode with a subject. What do you feel like doing tonight?
Man, I like the flow. I like how we rolling. Just let's do news, man. Let's do news.
We will save our mystery subject till next week then.
Okay, that sounds good. I like that.
So
It
just
was
some
it was a good subject.
yeah. So just some random news then. It was pointed out on a Zeet on the X platform of the Twitter the other day that if Knights of the Old Republic, I'm sure you're familiar, Billy,
Yes.
the game.
I'll play the game.
I played a game or two. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2 years ago, PlayStation did a little showcase, and they had in development the Knights of the Old Republic remastered. And they showed it in the background to some videos, and everybody got all hyped for it. And they said, yeah, it's in development. We're working on it. It'll be a while yet. But it was pointed out on Twitter, which would probably now be 2 or 3 days ago, that the YouTube videos that had that Knights of the Old Republic trailer are all slowly going away and being removed. And even in the actual PlayStation showcase video that had like a panning of the area, like showing all the vendors and the demos and stuff, that Knights of the Old Republic thing is all covered up. Like you can see it edited out of the video. And PlayStation said this is because there was some copyright issues with themselves, like music that was in it during that portion of the video can now not be used because they switched, they lost the license because it was privately owned or what. They made up some big elaborate excuse, but there also hasn't been any new news anytime recently about the Knights of the Old Republic remastered coming. So everybody is getting very suspicious that PlayStation is slowly hoping that people forget about this and that they're canning it, and they're not doing it for whatever reason. There was a Switch was it Jedi Outcast that came out recently that was also uh, not great and got dumped on pretty hard. So the thought is there may be some ties between Disney, LucasArts, and the video game world right now that they're kind of leery about releasing older properties and having them fail. So,
Right.
so like I said, the general stink is maybe PlayStation's hiding this because they aren't going to release it due to something else or problems with the remasters.
That doesn't seem like something a game company would do.
Yeah, no, they absolutely are completely transparent all the time about the
They,
development process of every video game ever.
yeah, they don't ever pretend like something didn't exist when everybody knows for a fact it did. That's never happened in the history of ever.
Yeah, they even PlayStation even deleted tweets that they had about Knights of the Old Republic since then. So everybody went and dug, quickly searched and dug up and screen capped every single thing that they've done for the last year and a half, and they're all slowly disappearing.
Right. They're all using the Wayback Machine to check it out.
Oh yeah, because that's what I live on the Wayback Machine, Billy. You know how I find things? That's
Mike, just because we're talking about the Wayback Machine, you look a little bit like Sherman.
I don't know who that is, but thank you.
Sherman and Peabody?
Oh, like the cartoon? Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Now all right. Do I?
And they would, if
Okay.
you had
All
some
right, yeah.
glasses, you look like a grown up Sherman. Just
Okay.
saying.
Thank you. I'm gonna take that as a compliment. I feel like it's like 60-40, but I'm gonna lean the side of good Billy, and that
So,
meant that
as
endearing.
always, I'm okay if you take it as an insult or an homage. Either way.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever makes you happy, buddy.
Everything makes me happy, Billy, as long as we're doing it here together. So.
Yeah, at least I'm not gonna say his name, but a certain game company spokesperson looks like a grown up Chucky doll, and
I could kind of see that.
yeah, a little bit creepy. I don't know. I'm sure he's probably a real nice guy in person. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say that about a lot of people, though. I've recently I had some back and forth with RGT85, the YouTuber, because
I know him.
he made a big long video that is just titled Quest 64 sucks and I hate it. And
no, he didn't. I didn't see that.
Oh, I'll send it to you. And then he shouts me out in the video too about how he hates my account and how he follows me for the lulz, but that I'm doing a disservice to the was what he didn't say, he just said, "Oh, I hate him and I hate that account, but I follow him because he's funny," but he didn't. It implies that me talking positively about Quest 64 is a bad thing. So
it does a disservice to gamers because they're like, this game must be awesome. Oh,
but he did all of the trappings that I love. Like he pretty much followed every other YouTuber script. He's like, "Oh, Brian's name is stupid. The game, I don't like the combat system," and then he didn't play the game. Just like it was like Pro Jared all over again. I should like.
I was about to say, can we just start calling it the Pro Jared script?
Well, I just need to like splice. I could take his video and Jared's and splice them in, like the beats in the story, and then get them together, and they can do the same things back and forth. He also says that there's only 2 Nintendo 64 RPGs, that and Ogre Battle. So then I got to like pull up his video on Twitter and tag it, and then just do all of my mic stuff. And eventually he responded saying, "Oh, well, the video is tongue in cheek." I'm like, well, maybe you should talk to the hundreds of followers that have come towards me defending your video about which of your videos is earnest retro content about games you like and dislike, and which of your retro video reviews are ones where it's just tongue in cheek and you saying you hate things is not the truth, because I don't think your followers know the difference.
Yeah,
that was the last I heard of it.
Because honestly, like we've definitely talking about before, there's, I mean, most people that review video games of any sort on YouTube have at least a little bit of that AVGN in them. They can't say, I like this. These are the couple things I didn't like about the game, but overall it was a great game and I enjoyed it. Or it's not the best game in the world, but I did enjoy it. No, it's got to be like, you got to make your little insulting quips and have
Yeah.
a overall, vibe to it. And that's the AVGN vibe to me.
Yeah. It is
You know?
sad. It is because I felt like since making my Twitter account that there'd been a lot of good being done, and then to see
You feel
somebody
like you
follow,
made some good headway.
yeah. So then to see somebody follow the old script again, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's
Well,
sad. And then to say it, like, because you knew you wanted me to find it, so then to do the thing and then talk about me and then have me find it makes me feel like you're purposely doing wrong by the community. Then like you're like, oh, this will make good content because this quest guy will surely respond to this. And then I did because I because it wasn't even bait. He just like farted on a fish hook and just threw it out in the internet. It wasn't even good bait. I just don't know how to
No,
not bite.
but did you feel a little bit like he came to your house and farted on your pillow?
Well, see, what I did is I made him dango. So he put out this video like a month ago, and I've known about it since because he messaged me on Twitter and he's like, "Hey, just let you know, I said I hate this account, but that's all for the lulz." I'm like, "Whatever, man." And, and that was we've had two lines of talking, and that was it for our DMs. Is, hey, I made fun of your account, but it's just for lulz. I'm like, "Oh, it's cool, whatever." And then I knew the video existed, but I let it sit for a full month before I said something about it because I didn't want him to like get the instant impact. I wanted it to just
Right.
marinate.
Right. Because then dude, if you don't get that pushback
Yeah.
from a target, it's deflating, like my you're at the point where like you're ignoring RTG 85 just for your own amusement, you know. Yeah, you're like, you know what? I'm gonna break them down a little bit. And the only way the only thing I have to do that is not say anything.
I waited the prerequisite amount of days, and
Right.
then somebody brought it up. I'm like, actually, and then I made a tweet. I'm like, I haven't addressed this video because I didn't feel like it, but here it is. And then I just went,
Oh man,
I got him.
yeah. And then you reeled him in. He
Yep.
knew what was up.
Showed up, all his followers, brought his whole posse, and I had a great old time.
Yeah.
I got to say all the stuff over again. Never hear from him.
I'll make a YouTube video. RTG 85 was wrong about Quest 64, and it'll be fine. You know, I'll defend you, buddy, but nobody's gonna see it. Nobody watches my YouTube.
That's okay. I just watched a YouTube video that somebody sent to me today, and it was just because it's in the vein of the way I run my social media accounts. It was just some YouTuber whose video was titled "I've run out of content," and it was just him just talking about how he's run out of content. And then later, the day after, he made a YouTube video him reacting to his own video of him running out of content.
Nice.
I'm like, wow. I'm like, this is meta. Yeah. I'm like, you've made good content out of no content.
Right. Kind of like remember during the last writer's strike, Conan O'Brien didn't have any writers, but didn't want to take the show off the air, didn't want to break the strike by writing any material. So like he'd do dumb shit like spin his wedding ring on the desk for an hour to see what the longest amount of time he could get it to spin.
Because he was a writer, he came up a writer. So absolutely, you respect that.
Dude, look, for people that don't know, I think this is pretty universally agreed. The seasons where Conan was a writer for The Simpsons are generally agreed to be the best seasons.
I mean, you're not going to find a lot of disagreement, but everybody's got their favorite. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. He also wrote for SNL.
Yes, he did.
Of course.
Because everybody did.
Dude, speaking of which, you familiar with Nick Swardson, right?
I am. Love Grandma's
Boy. Oh, yeah. Well, I love Nick Swardson. He's just so fucking oddball funny.
Yeah.
So, I saw this thing going around on TikTok, and it was a podcast. It was like a 3-minute clip of a podcast. And it was someone that knew Nick Swardson when he was 17. And he said, Nick rode his skateboard to his office and said, can I use your fax machine? I have to fax something. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, what are you faxing? And he's like, I wrote a movie. And so he's like, yeah, let me help you fax it. And he's like, and so Nick pulls out a spiral notebook and just starts tearing pages out, and there's like little pieces of paper flying everywhere, like when you rip pages out of a spiral notebook, and we're feeding these through the fax machine.
Yeah.
And he's like, he didn't type, he hand wrote a movie, and he was 17 years old, and he's like, this is pretty amusing. And he's like, who are you sending this to? And he goes, oh, I got Jamie Kennedy's fax number, so I'm sending it to him. And he called the movie something like Ballers with a Z or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Malibu's Most Wanted.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I think I've heard parts of that story before,
Uh-huh.
but not Spiral Notebook fax
Right.
machine parts of that, which is
Right. That's
objectively the best part of the story.
Yeah, that's the part that stood out to me the most, and I'm like, that's fucking great. Because that feels like something I would do. I'm not the greatest typist in the world.
Yeah, and I'm not the greatest talkist either. So I mean, that's why we fit together so well on this show, because we complement each other's badness in the pod sphere. What are we calling it now? The technosphere.
The technosphere.
The podrome.
I don't like the podrome. That sounds mildly racist. Like, if you called me a podrome, I'm in the right situation, I might get upset with you.
That's so. All right. This is normally where we'd wind up. Let's jam one more. I have one story it's not like super exciting news, but it's exciting because it's like a throwback.
Okay.
So what, as a purveyor of retro consoles, when you think of things that were like physical attachments, third party wise, to consoles in the 2000s, back in the heyday, so we're talking like Xbox, PlayStation, GameCube, Dreamcast, when we had the four giants together, what are the things that they did then that they do significantly less of now? Like that all the video game companies do less of now? I want to see how your brain works. I want to pick your brain here for a second.
I don't feel like we have experimental accessories anymore.
That's the road I'm going, so elaborate.
So, back when we were younger and as video games were developing, you had really cool stuff that would come out and maybe didn't work the greatest. For NES, we had the Power Glove, we had the U-Force. They weren't that great, but they were really cool concepts. SNES definitely changed Zapper into a bazooka type thing. Like there was more experimentation. PlayStation 2 and GameCube, and even I can't remember Dreamcast, they actually had controllers with a keyboard in between them.
Mm-hmm.
I have one of the PlayStation ones here, by the way. They're really cool, but you just don't see really experimenting like that anymore. Like try the willingness to try out new accessories, probably because they're so expensive to produce, and if they don't take off, you're going to lose a ton of money. So this whole lead up is to an expensive accessory, and it is something that we haven't seen for multiple generations of consoles, at least not officially licensed. Well, in fact, I know we haven't seen an officially licensed one for forever. Is it a Game Boy player for the 64?
That would be great, but no, yeah. It's not that. It's Xbox. So the series consoles have now released officially licensed attachable screens, like they did back in the Dreamcast, Xbox, PlayStation era. So now there's a USpec is the company, and Xbox decided they were going to officially license them and sell them online now.
Nice.
So, and they are. Let me tell you, Billy. Gorgeous.
So are they making it for the Series X?
Series S. The S, because it's
S.
Because it's flat and it can fit the screen on top of the thing.
Right. No, right.
Yep,
I understand that. The Series S is the Xbox One, but with upgraded everything that can play Series X games for 90%.
So it's a full 11 point. Let me get the specs here. 11.6 inch 1080p foldable ISP display. White to match the color. Um, really nice. Looks like a nice hinge. IGN reviewed it at a 7 out of 10. It is $200 though. $200, which is about the price of a TV. But
So,
it's
but
something cool that we just haven't seen since
yeah,
like
I
PlayStation
agree.
2, Dreamcast.
I mean, look, I'm going to tell you right now. If you get a screen for PS1, PS2, Dreamcast, GameCube, and you want to sell that item, you will sell it in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like they are, even to this day, they are so desirable because they are just so fucking cool, man.
Yeah.
And that almost makes me want to play Xbox. I mean, I'm not gonna, but it almost makes me want to. My kids play that model.
They kicked out all the stops too, Billy. They added for like $20, you can get a set of stand feet to make it like a little portable, the whole thing like a little retro, like portable stand self-contained thing. You can get a one of the, they brought back the fancy travel cases, so you can get a travel case for $50.
Nice.
All the stuff that, for the last 10 years you have trouble selling, like Xbox travel, like messenger bags and stuff like that.
I haven't had any trouble with those because I didn't have one for a 360. I had them for OG Xboxes, and people were like, hell yeah, I want that. Because they're fucking cool, man.
They are cool. The screens are cool too. And there's not a lot of practicality. Let's be real about that. But not needing an additional, like a spot. Like not just being able to have your Xbox and that and take it somewhere like a, even spots like a dorm or out on wherever,
That's what I was about to say. A dorm, or even if you're going on vacation.
Yeah.
You just tote that little bag with you. You
don't got to worry about your Xbox plugging into a hotel TV. Like, oh man, I hope this is,
Yeah, I hope this thing doesn't steal my credit card info.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So it's cool. It made me feel good. Made me feel young again, because the first system that I bought with my own money, like straight off, was a GameCube, and I immediately wanted the GameCube monitor, even though it was the worst of the pile. But I wanted it.
Yeah, that screen was terrible.
But I wanted it.
You know what? I think out of all of those, in my opinion, I think the PS1 screen was probably the best.
I have a complete PS2 one in a box downstairs somewhere in my dungeon, full of stuff that never comes out unless Billy asks about it. So.
And then
it'll come out someday.
I gotta check this out.
Yeah, yeah, go look at it. All right. Well, we were gonna do a show, and now we're not doing a show. So instead, we'll wrap up this show that we did. How about that? Instead of doing a show, we did one.
So. Yeah, this has been a primarily non-video game show.
We talked about video game culture, sort of.
I know, but at the same time, we try to talk about everything and what we consider geek culture. The technosphere.
So when you're talking about the technosphere, what did you learn from the Elon Musk dome tonight?
I learned that you think he should have shoulder fired that 50 cal.
Because he should have. It's not that I think he should have.
He should have just that he was a real man instead of shooting into the dirt.
We all want to know what those arms can handle, because it just looks. He looks like a mop with spaghetti noodles. And I just want to see what he can do.
Elon Musk looks like he's very malleable. Like if you hug him, he would be like 4 inches taller for the rest of the day. You know what I mean?
Like a Stretch Armstrong you've had for a whole
year. Yeah. Elon Musk looks like, if you shook his hand, you would be like, this does not really feel like a person, He
looks like that dude. We were just talking about Schwarzenegger, Grandma's Boy. He looks like the dude, the video game developer that walks around in the black duster, the big black trench coat the whole time.
You can't see me.
Yeah, that's dude. That's him.
Well, you'd think Elon looked better if you had robot eyes.
So would you learn tonight? Would I think that Elon looks better if I had robot eyes?
Yes.
So what I did learn tonight is that Billy is really concerned about the content of the cookbook that I'm involved with, but he's not concerned about my cooking skills or the amount of cheese that I'm going to include in it. So,
it should have lots of cheese.
It is going to have a lot of cheese.
Brian's Gruyere.
Yeah. No cheese in the game. There's cows though. So that's
There's cows,
yeah, there's cows.
but no cheese.
No cheese. All right. That's an entire show. That's one show's worth of words that we said. So I will now let Billy do one more Billy thing, and then we will get out of your hair till next week. So
That sounds awesome. Check out Billtendo.com. Buy some shit. Use code Quest64. It'll get you 10% off at checkout. How's that, Mike? Keep it short and sweet.
it's okay. You're kind of, let me tell you, it's kind of turning into like the My Pillow guy, where like if it's always a Quest 64 discount, is it a discount anymore? Is it just a constant? Like, do they have?
But that's the thing.
Do they have to listen to the show? Do you not talk about this anywhere else?
Not really. Only.
Okay. Well, that's good.
I do tell people occasionally about the discount code, but not very often.
That's good.
This is primarily the only place I ever mention it.
Okay. All right. That makes me feel better because I don't want it to be buy one, get one free pillows no matter where you buy them from, you know.
Right. No, that's not the deal. I mean,
okay.
our listeners get 10% off all the time.
That makes me feel better. Thank you, Billy. I can sleep peacefully now, and that's what I'm going to do. So have a good night.
You too, Mike.
Good night, everybody.